Okay, so another thing that I thought about. I'm going to name drop. I'm going to break one of my rules for right now in order to illustrate a much larger point. And I'm not trying to knock these people because I know that they're trying to expose certain things. So I saw this recently. I went on some Christian website and it said that these Australian scientists had discovered that people using social media excessively, and by excessively I mean like 4+ hours a day, people that use that excessively are literally developing horns inside of their skull. And it's because of their posture. It's because of like the way that they're staring at the phone. So you could say that that's definitely spiritually symbolic and all that shit. And yeah, it most definitely is, but it's way more about, you know, the action rather than like, oh, I'm gonna worship Satan now, you know? Like that's what I think whenever I see that, but I know that that isn't necessarily that person's intention. Well, I saw on this Christian website, like, you know, Kirk Cameron, of course, we love Kirk Cameron. We do. He's probably also like Illuminati oriented. But we're gonna pretend that he's not. We're gonna pretend that there are some people working for us. There are people on our side that are celebrities, I'm sure. They're not also being controlled. But anyway, Kirk Cameron, let's give him the benefit of the doubt that Kirk Cameron is not being controlled. Alright, so he did a movie. And it's all about, it's like a documentary that's based off of like how bad social media is for teenagers. I think it's called Connect. But the trailer itself just looks so cheesy. And it reminded me of that other movie, the Matt Walsh documentary, that What is a Woman? And it's like just the trailer like makes it look so cheesy and terrible. And it's like whatever points they're trying to make. Like this is the same thing that I say about people that watch like the Joe Rogan podcast in order to get information about said thingamajigs being injected into people that have adverse side effects, okay? Like, I don't need to watch these documentaries. I don't need to watch that podcast to know that certain things are bad, you know? But I feel like if they don't talk about things in a mainstream way, then mainstream people won't have access to it, and I guess that's the whole purpose of people like that. To sort of bridge the gap between, like, schizophrenic thought and actual reality. Because, you know, a lot of these Republicans and, you know, Christian types, they claim that they know the dangers of social media. But I'm telling you, if you really believed all the stuff that you're saying, like, you wouldn't even allow it. Like, it just seems kind of silly to me. I feel like the best way to not get addicted to social media is just not to be on social media at all. The best way to not get addicted to your smartphone is to not have a smartphone. But I realize that that's a lot easier said than done. And I can't talk about what it's like to be somebody else, living their life, having their job, raising their kids. You know, I have no right to tell anybody, oh, you have to do it this way, or you're a piece of shit because you won't do it my way. You know, fuck me, right? So anytime that, you know, people would get defensive about their lifestyle or the decisions that they made, I totally understand. And to a certain extent, I agree with you, because it's like, yeah, this is one of the main problems that I've addressed several times, is that people think that they can just tell another person what to do. They don't have to be you. Remember that forever. Nobody ever has to be you but you, okay? But it is important to have empathy. But empathy is not inserting yourself in that person's shoes and assuming the role of that person as yourself. That's not what empathy is. Empathy is saying to yourself, poof, bye-bye, you don't exist anymore. Now I'm only going to be focusing on this person's experience. Okay? I think that's really hard. I couldn't do that. And I mean, I don't know what happened. Maybe I just smoked the right amount of pot. Maybe I just smoked the right strain. I don't know. But it like just opened my eyes to the fact that I don't know shit. And I have no right to tell other people what to do. But like I've said, this is not an individual criticism. This is a societal criticism because of the social contagion that you see through social media accompanied with mental illness, okay? So like any time that there's some terrible product that's being used by a mass number of people, expect a mental illness to follow, okay? Because people can't stop proving that they're not satisfied with life. I mean, I get it. I do. I agree to some extent, but I forget what my original point was. I was bitching about mainstream people, and I need to come up with something interesting, like something that people can listen to that's somewhat palatable, you know, because I'm just not palatable because I'm such a cunt.